Welcome everyone, Grand Gnosis Master Dr. Thor here, and I've got a very interesting email from someone which I think is very pertinent to anyone who's trying to evoke and do spirit conjuring, spirit drawing. And it's interesting that this should come up now as I've posted something recently. But this is very interesting in terms of the fact of, I would think, a common problem that people start to have with spirit conjurations. Now, it's always very difficult to get anything to manifest in your life. And without getting into a lot of side issues, as a manifesting scientist, we're looking at energies of all type. And one of the reasons I haven't gotten into spirits is because spirits are very hard to quantify, very hard. How do you get them to work for you? There's all these books on evocation, which is basically what most grimoires are about. It's ritual magic, which is the calling on of spirits in a very particular way. You form circles, you draw spirits into triangles, and then you send them out to assist you. Now, isn't that wonderful? So, it'd certainly be nice if it worked and worked consistently. Yet, it's like with everything in all of the manifesting fields out there, it's very difficult to find anybody who able to do this consistently and can prove it. And those that have figured it out for one reason or another, smart or non, don't share it. It's an empowerment that you, as the basic philosophy of a manifesting scientist is act and be quiet. Because now you're getting to levels of empowerment that make you dangerous to society. Now, these grimoires that have been out there for hundreds and hundreds of years, that we were one of the first to ever translate these from French to usable copies, which Grandmaster Robert Blanchard did, who was a working magician. Not many people can say that they've done the actual translations and are a working magician. So our translations are the best out there. Now, what does this mean? People are under the illusion that somebody writes a book and that this will work for everybody. Well, I don't know anything in life that works for everybody. We've got to understand that these were grimoires that were being sold to the public under maybe even dangerous situations, and there's a lot of pulp fiction in them. How to do this, how to do that. Did they really work like that? A lot of the people who claim to have used magic have been thrown in prison and executed, etc. But this is a mixed bag of understanding as well. The superior military is always won in the end, not the magically empowered military, even though usually it involved both. So the whole idea is that this is something that everyone needs to understand of how the world works. So you get a grimoire, you follow what's there, and you don't get results. Well, why is that? You know, there are people that claim that they can call on spirits and they come and do things, but where is that proven in their life or anything else? You can't get any kind of proof of this to any great degree. Certainly their lives don't show it. People who claim to be magically powerful seem to be people that are involved in regular society-based things and seem to be making their money off of, incredibly, the government and other places. This certainly isn't personal empowerment. If you're personally empowered, you wouldn't have regular jobs. You wouldn't be working for the government as teachers or military, etc., like some of these Black Lodge people claim to do, or having mommy leave you $10 million in assets, if not more. Well, that isn't empowerment, especially since you didn't pick your mommy. So, these are all the things that we see, and then we see these people who are involved in ritual magic in general, because they tend to be odd people, not connected to society, that there isn't much to show from them, or at least those that are public. We have absolutely no idea what's going on behind the scenes. And as I've stated many, many times, I do know of powerful psychics who are extremely wealthy from using their abilities in the stock market. They're not going to stand on the street corner and tell you that. They're not going to write a book about it. This puts their head on the chopping block. And I really, if I have to go into that and state more about that, you're not really getting it. So, this person who has been using the Red Dragon for some time, he invested in the Red Dragon, he invested in all the training, he invested in the Red Dragon kit that we have there as well to connect you to these energies. This person then has spent a few years studying this particular text, going on the internet, getting as much information as possible. Hey, this person's doing the right thing. It takes time and energy. It's just not getting a book and it works for you. And we've done everything possible to connect you to the empowerment streams, meaning you get connected strongly to a spirit, which then you assume you can work with. Now, in basic Western traditions, you're commanding spirits. You're threatening them and you pull them into a circle. Because why would they help you? And to a large extent, this makes a lot of sense. Why would any spirit help you? I've always laughed at this, particularly with the voodoo spirits, where people give them a chicken, and a $5 chicken, and then they are your slave and will do what you want for them. Well, I always found this amusing. There does seem to be low-level spirit entities, which are basically destructive in nature. I don't know if you call them entirely demonic, but they're very destructive. And, of course, that's what the human reality is all about anyway, isn't it? So the point is these people seem to get results from these offerings to these spirits, etc. Again, it's very difficult to know what is going on here. Very difficult to know what level of power. But it does seem to be a destructive amount of energy that can be sent to someone, meaning if you want to hurt or kill them, this seems to be one of the easier things to do. In terms of manifesting, though, these people tend not to have these showing of these results. They're not wealthy people. But, of course, they are wealthy in their own little tribal communities and their own places, and it's hard to judge where they're coming from. Secondly, they're simple people. They don't understand that, even though the times are getting different now. I think everybody around the world now knows what fancy cars and houses are from the media that they're exposed to. And some people have reached these levels as well, using spirits in a very traditional way, and having altars, having all the things. Well, what is an altar? An altar that you have a permanent altar or temple to a spirit is meaning you have a connection to them. This is very important. So if you're going to work with a particular spirit, while the IGOS tends to work with energies, but if you're going to work with a particular spirit, then you need to have some sort of altar to that spirit there. So, shrine, altar, etc. This is where you've made a connection to that energy, and then it can go there, and you're connected to that energy, and ask for what you want, do your whatever sacrifices, etc. There's more than just giving animal sacrifices. There's food, there's liquor, etc. There's many ways to go, and whether the entities do like, particularly the more primitive they are, they're going to want blood sacrifices, and these blood sacrifices tie you to that entity for better or worse. So what's happened is that after doing all this research and everything else, this person performed the rituals as noted in the excellent text, the only good Red Dragon text, which is the one made by IGOS. That's going to take you there. There's also the sigils to connect the person to these god forms and to this entire energetic pattern. So all of that was done. And what happened after doing particular rituals? Well, as with most things in magic and un-Hollywood-like, where you're going to see beams of lights and spirits appear, now, physical appearance and all these things are pretty uncommon in the entire process. I mean, now there's always talk of spirits appearing, etc. And of course, there's all sorts of rationalizations why this doesn't happen. One of those Black Lodge Satanists who claim he talks to spirits all the time never can film one, which of course is a lie as well. These can be filmed and can be filmed pretty easily. If they appear to you, others should see it. The fact that they appeared in your head, in your psychotic, delusional thinking things are happening because you did something, is not the reality. Physical appearance of spirits is well known and does happen, but it's extremely rare. It's extremely rare on every single level. So it's not something that you can expect to happen, nor, other than its Hollywood value, ooh, I saw it, it was wonderful. Does that do anything for you? Didn't you call that spirit for a particular reason? So the whole idea is you shouldn't necessarily be looking for some sort of physical apparition. You shouldn't be looking for something Hollywood. Oh, I saw this image. A light ball came out of the ceiling. All of these things, people are not quite understanding the process that's going on. These dramatic and fun and interesting and frightening experiences are very Hollywood, and they rarely happen. Now, do you care? No. Why don't you care? Well, the point is you want something, you want this entity to do something. You sent it out on a particular task, and that's all you should care about. Now, you also have to be extremely observant. Things happen. You may feel a breeze. You may feel something drop. You may feel hot. You may feel cold. There'll be very minor things happening that show you that the spirit has come there. Maybe there'll be nothing. But if you're an observant magician, you will feel how the energy of that room and that place has changed. And that's the key to it. So it's changed, the spirit has come, it has heard you, and you have then, if you're doing proper magic, you have sent it back to its realm of where it's come from once it does its duty. You generally don't want spirits hanging around because then it's a restless person who has nothing to do and gets into trouble, even if they're positive in nature. And that's basically what you do with it. You basically always dismiss spirits. You tell them, thank you for coming, go out and do your job and return to the realm you came from. So this is important as part of the process. The other part of the process, in case you do have some sort of problems, is to make sure you know how to banish. You have banishing oils, incenses, etc., or know how to banish in general. So if something comes by that's a problem, you can get rid of it. Again, you don't want spirits hanging around you that you evoked, meaning you brought to you to do a job and then sent away. Invoking, when you take a spirit into you, then it's working through you, and you do this with positive spirits, angels. Other spirits that you're unsure of or who may be more destructive in nature, you evoke, send them out to do a job, and then they come back. That's very important to understand that. And there are many aspects of it. So what happened with this person is they did a ritual and nothing happened. And of course, when you've done all this studying, all this build-up, all this meditation, in terms of nothing happened to a level that they could recognize, no spirits popped up, no flaming balls of light went by their head, all those things that people expect because of movie representations of all this. The average person cannot manifest like this, or it's going to happen extremely rare and be basically fairly frightening. And of course, the spirits are well aware of this, and it doesn't produce anything of value to have the magician be frightened by your appearance. So all of these things are part and parcel of what's going on. So here's what happened in terms of that. So the point is that nothing basically happened there, but then 3 days later, there was a great number of rappings, strong rappings such as that came apparently from the roof area of this person's house. This was not something that was maybe happening. This was very strong, very powerful, and obviously this was done from a spirit reality. Now, this is exactly the type of contact that people need to have, and something that's less frightening, even though obviously that person was very frightened. So, and this is the problem with spirit manifestations. If you're going to be frightened by them, well, it's unlikely the spirit's going to do that. What's the point of it? Secondly, them manifesting, which takes a lot of energy, serves no purpose. Well, I was happy. Well, that doesn't mean anything. You're there for a particular goal. So what does that mean to you as the actual manifesting scientist calling on this ancient energy of manifesting? And that's what all these spirits are, and that's what grimoires. Grimoires are just ancient manifesting technologies and energies. So what does that mean? So of course this totally and completely freaked out the magician, and who ran up to investigate it, and then ultimately did a banishing to get rid of the energies who were persistent in their knocking. So once a banishing was completed, the knocking stopped, which shows you again what? Well, first of all, it shows you when you are dealing with a specific situation that the magic works, because why would it stop unless something was created there? But what does that mean? And was that in any way hostile? Well, it certainly wasn't. This was a way this person, the spirit was telling this person that contact was made and working on his situation. Now, just knocking for a minute or a second wouldn't have proven much. It's, was that a bird hit the roof or something? It means nothing. The point is a persistent knocking to the point that got your attention, you followed through on how to do a banishing, shows you exactly that magic works and the technologies you have work. All based in, this person has all of the material there. As I've mentioned, the audios that go with the book itself, and actually the Red Dragon kit that is available with it, which has these particular amulets to connect to these entities. So I can guarantee you that you're connected to those entities. Now, if these spirits want to work with you or not is another question. We're not sure why they work with some and not others. How do they manifest? Well, this isn't a book that is written for you, meaning that they're going to manifest in a way that the books say. Everything is different here because of the factors of where you're living, how you're communicating, etc. So the point is that strong knocking that wouldn't stop until there was a banishing done shows the power of that. Now, what was going on there? Was the spirit trying to scare you? No. What was the spirit trying? The spirit was telling you it got his message. Now, again, you do a big ritual for whatever. Do you expect that to happen and it manifest right away? Does that mean, let's say you did it for money, you expect a pot of gold to be at the, you open your front door going to get your mail, and, oh, there's the pot of gold. It would be nice. And you figure that out, let me know. So, how do you expect that to happen? Maybe you did it to meet somebody. What is that again? Maybe you'll hear a knocking on your door. Hello, I'm here to meet you. No, I don't think so. It would be nice. And again, figure that out, let me know. Things don't work like that. That's not part of the manifesting reality. You need to understand the laws of manifesting. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to beat this into people's heads, but you have to understand that everything has to come through a channel. So you need to be able, if you're asking for money, you have to have some way money to come to you. And this is not going to happen through your job, or at least not much. Maybe you'll get a raise, maybe you'll get a bonus, maybe you get other things. This is quite common with people who do success rituals. But it's not really what they're looking for. They want Hollywood results. So if you expect to win, let's say, at gambling or the lottery, it means once you're doing rituals, you have to go out and do it. So you're going to have to buy lots of lottery tickets, etc. Now, because it has to have a channel to come to you. And that's the same thing with everything else. You're not going to be sitting in your living room watching TV, drinking a beer, and somebody's going to knock on the door to be a relationship with you. It doesn't work that way. So, because you have to go through the channels. So you're going to have to be out there. And if people who are out there and watching and open, things happen. Plain and simple. So here the spirit let this person know, and his first reaction, of course, is he was scared. So, which is the first reaction with everybody. I've seen people who, when there are strong spirit manifestations, sometimes glowing balls or images, not necessarily clear, I've seen them get up, scream, and run out of the house while shitting themselves. Basically, that's a common reaction. Did that generate any magic? Well, it didn't. Now, if you're centered, that's not going to bother you. So this was a way that the spirit was actually communicating with you so that you knew that it was on the job working for you. It was verifying, connecting that your ritual worked and you were connected to that particular spirit in one of the most safest and non-threatening ways. Instead of popping up in your living room and having you foul yourself and scream and run. So the whole idea is that this is certainly a great way for spirit to communicate, and they're very versed in what people can handle. So this is a very positive experience. Now the person asks, well, why didn't this happen immediately, right after the ritual? Because it's not the best time to do it. Again, it creates a lot of fear. It's better off that you're relaxed and out of the ritual state, because this way you're going to be more receptive or less threatened by it. So that's the reason. And again, the spirits understand. There's a great intelligence to spirits and manifesting energies in general. They're extremely intelligent, even though in some areas you have to be very specific because they don't understand, like quantities of money. I want money. Well, spirits don't quite understand what that means, or the energy doesn't quite understand what that means. So you have to define what you're trying to target for. And you have to be definitive in most things, because while spirits understand what you need to a certain degree, you have to be very clear on the aspects of it. So if you don't tell a spirit that you're looking for a relationship to someone you can actually talk to after sexual contact, you may have someone who's brought in who's just a very great sexual partner. Well, you know, while that fulfills a need for a certain period of time, it's going to cause a problem, because that's not what you were seeking, because you were looking for a more long-time relationship. Someone you can get along with outside of the bedroom, not only in the bedroom, which may be a mistake in general, but that's for another audio. But the point is that you have to be specific in these areas. You could also ask spirits to contact you in a particular way. Now, you can ask them to appear. The best thing to do is say, appear or give me a sign that you're here. Now, this is a great thing you should build into all rituals so that you get some sort of feedback. And that may happen, and you should add now. You know, the one thing I use in a lot of rituals that I do is the word now. Now, that is understood by everybody. Now is now, right now. Not next week, not next year, not when I'm 89, now. So those are good things to add into the entire process, and something that you should be working with as a general understanding process of how rituals work. So that's what this whole communication was. And the point is that this happened 3 days later, was what the spirit felt was appropriate, so that the person would understand what was going on without creating as much fears as it happening at the moment. So, and we just don't know why these things happen in general. Now, once you're a prepared person, a manifesting scientist who can draw these energies consistently, things should happen at times when you're doing rituals. But again, if you're new to all this, that could be you think you want to see that. But I'm not sure a lot of people quite understand that. People want to understand lots of things, but they're unable to really deal with it when it happens. So this was plain and simple. This person had done everything right. They studied, they got everything together, they did their rituals, and they got results. Now, the question here is what were you asking for, and was that brought to you? What was the reason for summoning spirits? And let's hope you don't summon spirits just to bother them. Yeah, I want to talk to somebody. No, no, no. You have to send them out on a specific task. Now, was that task fulfilled? But the spirit is basically telling you that they got the message, and they're working on it. The other thing is that don't expect things to manifest or instantly in front of you. It takes time for things to come. First of all, you're a blockage unto itself. Your consciousness, your mind is expecting something in a particular straight line fashion that may not be possible. So that's a blockage unto itself. Secondly, things have to happen. So if you're expecting something to come to you, generally, again, it's not going to be that knock on the door and a pot of gold left in front of it. This is very, very rare, even though I'm trying to find the value of a few cases where money came out from the sky and fell out and they were given this money. So that's very interesting. But there seems to be something to this, but this is obviously extremely rare. Again, anybody figures that out, let me know. So the whole idea is that these kind of things, and of course anything is possible. There's absolutely nothing in this world that isn't possible that can happen or not. Now, because all of this is within the reality that we understand now, within the quantum physics possibility of everything. So, which means things are created from nothing and they turn into material objects at different levels and degrees of solidness, so to speak, density. So the whole idea is that we need to fully understand that as the way things are going. So this was a well-done ritual that produced results, and contact was made. Now, ultimately, whether the spirits assist you or not, to get what you desire, or can even bring that to you. People are under the impression they can do anything. Well, that spirit may not be able to produce the results you want because that's not their area of specialty. But this kind of thing should be taken as what it is, as a signal from the spirit that I've got it, I'm working on it. And the only way the spirit can understand that you get it is to persist until you do a banishing. So this is I would say, a perfect example of the way things manifest after doing rituals. Now, there's all sorts of wild things from different thought forms, from different tribes and other things that come out and say all these things. We just don't know. When you get into these primitive societies who are given certain supernatural abilities, we just don't know if any of this is real and what the reality of it is. We just don't know. And unless somebody's working in a Western society that we are familiar with, we can't really judge them. So someone coming from a non-sophisticated country, so to speak, these things are manifest in different ways. And people have reached high levels because they're powerful sorcerers in their community and have mastered it. They are the wealthy and rich in those areas, and because they don't have a style of Western living, are put down. Well, this may not be the case at all. The point is, in your society, being extremely successful may be the fact of having X amount of money per month and all the things that go with that. So everything is very relative to your own personal situation. We just don't know. I've yet to get any kind of great proof from any of these people of what their personal empowerments are. So certainly people have been able to reach certain levels with these very primitive, powerful spirits, but they don't seem to be, just as even I have neglected over the years. People are not using these for personal benefits. They're helping other people, which is stupid, for a fee. Well, you should be manifesting your own empowerment. You should be using that power to go out into the world and manipulate it to your own personal purposes. And of course, your number one need in this world is financial success, so that you don't have to deal with society and become corrupt like they do, because they're all feeding off of the same tit, and this becomes a serious problem. So with all that, we need to understand the realities that go on there. So, in general, this ritual was done correctly, and the person should continue doing rituals, reaffirming the fact that they still need this until it is manifested. But you generally wait. Give time for the spirits to do the work. You can't keep going to a spirit and say, make this happen, when you haven't given it a fair period of time. So generally, rituals in the ritual magic tradition should be repeated about every 10 days. And you have to see what spirits you connect with. If you're using a book like the Red Dragon, where there are multiple spirits and they have different uses, you then have to make sure that you are calling on the proper spirit and asking for the proper thing. You don't go to a lust spirit and ask them for money. This doesn't make any sense, does it? So when we put all of these together, that's part of the process that has to be done to manifest in your life, and you have to be watching for little signs of things. So again, while you're doing rituals after and during the manifesting process, it's all about subtle signals. If you're not paying attention to the world around you, about opportunities presented to you, then you are going to fail. Don't think that something's going to come straight line again. I need money, where's that check? Where's that pot? It just doesn't happen like that. Opportunities will present itself. Whether this is a huge discount or a better place to live at less money, or getting a fancy car for an expensive price, or buying something that you're going to buy anyway and getting a discount on it, these are manifestations of money. So if you're going to buy something for $500 and you were able to get it for $200, that means $300 is free to you. You were given $300. You need to look at things like this. Everybody wants dramatic results. Again, movie land stuff, which is relatively rare and difficult to manifest in people's lives. Again, you need to understand, what can I manifest? And everyone should have read my book. So the point is that it's all in there. What it has to be, how is it going to come to you? And this is very important that you understand these concepts. You have to be aware when you're going about your daily business. If you're doing it for financial gain, well, opportunities could have presented themselves to you that you didn't pay attention to. It could be something simple. You could be passing by a bookstore and all of a sudden it's the 100 Ways to Make Money is in the window. Well, why is that in the window now? Well, you're being told to buy that book. This is the one way you're going to get the money. If you're trying to meet somebody, well, you can't be negative to people. You can't be sitting in a place where you're not going to meet anybody. You have to be actively with people and working with them where you come into contact with them and be open to it. So this is all how things manifest, and I don't think people really get this. They're so concerned about doing the rituals that once the rituals are completed, they're not paying attention to how to manifest in their lives. So you have to look for any sign you can get. And you got to stay away from the Hollywood results, and that is appearing in front of you like some sort of translucent ghost and talking to you, showing an image. Well, people claim this. I've yet to see this from any person who has claimed it. I've had some of these experiences myself with certain spirits, but I don't work with spirits because I find they're very unreliable. I do expect to get back into that in the coming years to see exactly what spirits can do. But these kind of things are generally not normal and can happen easily. So it's all about getting out there and doing the rituals, not expecting instantaneous results or not expecting really to see any kind of manifestations. Every bit of energy that a spirit manifests to show you is less energy they're using to manifest your desires. So you do a ritual, you assume contact has been made. You may get some sort of signal. Maybe a prime way is putting candles out and watching the flames. Make sure there's no drafts and see if the flames flicker. Do they flicker? Do they act odd? I've had this happen numerous times. Light balls of energy. You see lights, you see glowing, you feel cold, you feel hot. These are all the way that spirits manifest in consistent manner. That can be done easily, that you should be paying attention to. But regardless of these little Hollywood results, is anything happening in your life to manifest what you called from that spirit to manifest? So, and again, if you're looking for a straight line, you're missing the point. You don't understand that. So things are going to happen usually in an odd way, things that generally you may even disregard, but they've been produced for you. And if you're silly enough not to pay attention to and take advantage of things that are presented to you, well, again, you're not getting it. But this is a prime example of a very strong effect for this particular manifesting scientist, so they would get the message that they had made contact and were working on their request. Plain and simple. Until next time.